Hi Stampin' Friends, it's Chris Slogar from BuckeyeInklings.com, and today I want to show you this really fun popping flap card. Okay, are you ready? I've just pulled out the tag section. The card's coming out, and then that one section just slaps open. It's so unexpected, I think, and really cute. I was really taken with this idea. This I saw by demonstrator Tamara at Together We Are Happily a Stampin'. And she has a YouTube video for the one she made. I'll link it in my description. She got the idea from an interactive component of an album, and she made it into a greeting card, which I thought was just genius. And she uses the snail mail suite. This really lends itself well to anything that has these little pieces that you can cut and die cut, or stamp and die cut. Like I've used the Hey Birthday Chick set. Hers with the snail mail suite is super cute too. Okay, so let's get started on this. There are 3 important pieces that we need to make. And then the rest is mostly decoration, and it's really not that hard. It looks much harder than it is. The garden green pocket piece is the first of those 3 important pieces. And then you have the flap piece. Okay, that's basic white here that flaps open. And then there's a mechanism piece, which you can start to see right in here as it opens. Okay, so we'll get to that. But let's start with the, what I have as a garden green piece. It measures 4 3/4 by 7.5. And in the 7.5 dimension, I'm going to score it at 3 1/4. Okay, and then I'm also going to score it a 1/2 inch from each long edge. And we need to make this into a pocket, not a flat pocket, but a pocket that that bows open a little more easily with tabs on the inside. So to do that, what I'm gonna do, this is the longer side here. Okay, I've got the 3.5 inch length down here. I'm sorry, was it 3.5? No, 3 1/4, the scored 3 1/4 section down here. I'm going to cut along those lines that I scored up until the horizontal score line here. And do that on both sides, okay? And you'll see this is a way we've used before to make a pocket. Okay. Get my snips. And I am going to make a slightly angled like tab piece here. Okay, so I'm just cutting in there at a little wedge, a little angle. Oh, it didn't quite make it all the way. Okay, and this is going to make that pocket what I'm talking about, that it's not a flat pocket. It has these tabs that give it a little space to open up, okay? And that allows that mechanism to work. Okay, so there's that piece. And then we have the flap piece. Like I said, this is basic white, 3 1/4 by 6 1/4. I've already scored this one at 2 3/4. Okay, that's gonna pop out here. And then this is the mechanism piece. It's 2 1/8 inch square. I'm gonna score it here on my scoring board because I need a lot of score lines on it. Okay, so we are going to score it 1/2 inch from each edge in one direction. So that'll basically be at a 1/2 inch and then 1 5/8, okay, because it's 2 1/8 long. And then between those 2 score lines, score it at every 1/8 inch. And that makes this kind of rolling mechanism that will pull the flap out of the pocket. Okay, So before we assemble that, I am going to do a little bit of the decoration on some of these pieces, okay, just to make it easier. So on the flap piece, you can see I've got this flap's open, and I have my Berry Blessings paper already cut. I have 2 pieces that are cut at 2.5 by 3, and that's going to be for the front and back of the section that flaps open. I have 1 piece that measures 3.25 by 3. And then I have this little, this is going to be our tab piece. I've got this at a 2-inch square. Okay, you might want to make it just a tad longer if it makes it easier for you to put in the punch, but I'm using the fancy tag topper punch on it. I can just get a 2-inch square in there, so I just went ahead and did that and punched that to make that tag pooler. And then for the outside of the pocket, I have pieces that are 3 by 3.5 and 1.5 by 3.5. And we're only going to, let's see, on the pocket piece, we'll put on only the pieces that are going to be flat because then it will be easier to assemble if we don't have any of the, you know, popped up or chunky pieces on. So again, this is a 3 by 3.5 piece. I'm putting it on what will be the front of the pocket. Now, this plaid piece, that's 1.5 by 3.5. Actually, in my sample, I have a leafy green piece under here. We cannot attach that yet. That's the one piece we need to set aside until after the pocket's constructed. But I can add the scalloped rectangle and the fence piece, and then I'll add these popped up pieces later. Okay, for my scalloped rectangle, I am going to shade that first with Balmy Blue. Okay, and you can get your sponge out. I've just got a little Balmy Blue back there. We also have these new blending brushes that make this task so easy. You just kind of tap them on the pad, tap them off a little bit, and then because they're rounded, they hit the paper nicely, and you don't end up with like square edges like sometimes I do when I do my shading with a sponge. Okay, and it's just kind of a real subtle effect. You can add more or less as you go, but they're so easy with the blending brush. Okay, so I am also going to stamp that with Let's Celebrate You. And most of the work you'll see here that we're doing is decorating, okay? There's going to be very little to the mechanism. You'll be surprised. Okay, so let me attach this into the center here, and I'll put the fence on too since that's flat, and we'll set that aside, and then we'll decorate some of the flat pieces here. This fence is one of the die pieces in the Birthday Chick set. Okay, so here's the dividing line. These are all the Birthday Chick dies. There's a fence, there's a Great Happy Birthday, a flour sack, and then there's the outlines of the chickens and a streamer. Super cute dies. And then there's a set of dies that goes with the Hey Chick set as well. I tried to keep myself with the Hey Birthday Chick bundle for this card just to kind of make it easier. Okay, so like I said, I've got these pieces to attach to the flap. Oh, hold on. Before I put on this red gingham piece, I'm going to make sure to tuck my tag end under there. So I'm just going to put that in first here. And I'm just kind of lining up so that the edge of the ribbon hole misses the end of the card, doesn't stick out too much, and kind of centering it. Okay, and then I can put this over it, and I'm hiding that pull piece. Okay, and then like I said, I've got these two raspberry pieces. Okay, I'm using the front and the back of the paper on this side of the flap. Okay, so I've got the raspberries this way on the inside. And the leaves here. Okay. Okay, and we'll add the other things, the chicken and the words and everything, after we have this assembled. Okay, I just wanted to get the really flat pieces in place. Okay, so there we have our flap, again, our mechanism, and our pocket. So on the pocket, I am going to start with my tear and tape out on these tabs. And I'm not going all the way to the edge here, so I think that gives it a little more space to roll open to let the magic happen of this mechanism. Okay, so there's a little space between the edge of the fold and the tear and tape here. And okay, so here's the mechanism piece, and we are going to fold back. Remember, we've got a 1/2 inch on either end. Okay, and then we've also got 1/8 inch, and I just folded those both the same way. We've got 1/8 inch increments between them, and I'm going to go ahead and burnish every one so that this will easily roll open. The flat piece will pull this easily within that little pocket piece. All right. Okay, and then on the very ends, I'm going to add my tear and tape. Now, in this case, I am going to put the tear and tape just adjacent to the score line. And I'm doing that on both sides. All right, so to get started here, we are going to fold this back and put this in place along the edge of our pull-out section. Okay, so the easiest way to see that is we're actually going to put the tear and tape directly onto this decorated front piece, and we're going to have this edge line up with the folded edge there. Okay, and we're just centering it in that height. I'm just eyeballing it and putting that down. Okay, so this is how the card and the mechanism will look when it's pulled to the open position. Okay, so this will be stretched out, and this will do the magic of pulling that open. Okay, so what we need to do is locate this edge right at the edge of the pocket, okay? Because when that gets to the edge of the pocket, that's when we want to see this get pulled open. All right, so I'm just going to line this up in the height, kind of center it in the height, and pull this out until, okay, you can just see it there, and I want to just push it ever so slightly under the edge there. And that is the location that we want to adhere this. Okay, so I'm pulling the tear and tape here, and I'm closing the pocket down on this, and we're just not seeing that folded edge. Okay, and that is exactly where we need this so that this can slide in. And then when you pull it out, it opens. All right, so there's your mechanism. Now, to finish the pocket, we're going to reveal this adhesive. And what we need to do is bring these edges around the whole flap card, and we've got the adhesive exposed, and we're just pushing that down to the back of the pocket piece. Okay, so now we've got that kind of sealed up there, and we've got our mechanism popping open. Okay, super cool. Now, okay, this is where this piece comes in. So when you've done this now, we've created, those tabs create kind of an obstacle here for this card to slide back in to the pocket. Okay, and that is what we're going to cover up with this piece. Okay, remember we've got this 1.5 by 3.5 piece left over, and it is long enough that it's going to cover the edge of those tabs, so that we won't have that, they won't obstruct the motion. Okay, so I'm putting tear and tape. This is actually one of the hardest parts of this, is to get this piece in there. I've put tear and tape down both lengths, and I'm just going to reveal one side of it. And what you need to do, okay, so in the end, this edge needs to be like matted within the garden green piece. So I'm sliding, this is the adhesive end that's revealed. I'm putting that in first, and I'm going to slide this, and it already stuck a bit. Let me see if I can get that back out. Shoot. Like I said, this is going to be the trickiest part, because you need to get that in there and cover up those tabs. Here we go. Okay, so I'm going to slide that in and put it in place so that this is matted on the green pocket piece, okay, and then press that down. All right, and then once I have one side stuck, I can get in there and stick the other side. You might prefer to do that with liquid glue. Maybe you could slide that easier. I've tried it both ways. I kind of like this with revealing one piece of tape at a time. Okay, but now we've covered up that obstruction there. So when you pull on this, it pushes back in easily. You don't run into those tabs. Okay, so now the rest is a little more decoration. So let me show you what I've got here on the front. And I've already cut these pieces. I've got this very joyous chicken, and I'm going to pop her up. And I've got some flowers that I punched with the Confetti Flowers Border Punch. And I've already taken, these are the ice cream sprinkles. I've already taken some of those ice cream sprinkles and built up a couple of little flowers with centers. And I'm going to attach a few of these to the card front. Take some plain ones too. Let's see, take a little guy. I'm just following the pattern I already have to keep it simple. There, okay, so there's the front. So really cute little flower centers too, the ice cream sprinkles. Okay, so that's the front. Now let's see, we can add the ribbon. I've got some cinnamon cider in color ribbon. I'm going to add to the tab here. I'm just going to push it through and wrap the ends here. Okay, that needs to be just a tad shorter. Okay, and then we have just a couple pieces to put on the inside too. So I put happy birthday over here on the one panel, and this will be a really cute design for a lot of different sets that we have that have, you know, fun pieces in the stamp and die set. So I'm gonna just put happy birthday up there. And then You're Still a Spring Chicken. Going to put my colored chicken. Again, these are all from the birthday, Hey Birthday Chick collection. Now, I'm putting these guys over to the left a bit because I don't want them to show out in this area. I don't want to see part of these pieces when it's all closed up. Okay, so I think that's in far enough. Let's make sure. Yeah. Okay, and then I have a base piece. Now, Tamara had an idea to make this as an additional card. Like, she actually had a full piece of cinnamon cider, like a card base here that opened, and then there was like a lot of greeting space on the inside. I just mounted my pocket mechanism on a card base. So I've got cinnamon cider that's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 here, and a piece of designer paper from the In Good Taste collection that's 4 by 5 1/4. Okay, and then I mounted the whole thing directly on here. So you can do what works for you there, whether you want a card that opens or just mount this assembly on the base. Okay, so I'm going to take my glue, and this is actually a little bit harder to secure. Like, I want to make sure this is going to stay and connect without bowing up. So I always have some clothespins handy for this kind of thing. You know, a lot of times you have to hold things for gluing, and this is a good use of clothespins to get that dried. Okay, but I think here we can maybe still see our, well, we're gonna hit the clothespin. Okay, let me show you the one that's done, because this is what it looks like in the end. I think this is so fun. And it just flaps open and rolls back in. Okay, so thanks so much for checking out my project. Thank you to Tamara Hauk at Together We Are Happily a Stampin'. Love this idea. You know, check out her YouTube as well because she has a cute snail mail version. And if you need any of the products you've seen, please visit me at buckeyeinklings.com. I would so appreciate your help in the online store. Okay, thanks guys. Have a great day.